Hi, this is Wes Fryer, and I'd like to welcome you to this podcast about no-edit iPad videography. And I recorded this on December the 7th, 2011. I'm going to apologize that because of my technical setup and just kind of the way things are, I had to use a DV camcorder to record the video of the iPad screen. And we'll cross fingers that this is going to be a usable recording. In the post-production, I am going to go ahead and try to put in some pictures and some other things during some parts of the video that will hopefully make it a little bit better to watch. But generally, in these podcasts, I'm able to record both a headshot video as well as the screen of the computer. And in this case, I wasn't able to do that. So please check out the other videos that I have available for this series. This is the 12 days of playing with media, and you can learn more on the website learn.playingwithmedia.com. Thanks. All right, well, hello, this is Wes Fryer, and it's December the 7th, 2011, and this is a bit of an experiment because we're doing a live video conference, but we're also doing some recording. And because of the dynamics of the iPad, this is a little different because I'm directly sharing my iPad video with the video conference, but I have this, in fact, we'll get a laugh, I'm sure, out of our video conference audience to kind of show the ridiculously, there isn't duct tape here, but I'm using my camera here to shoot down on the screen of the iPad to try to capture it because I don't have a better way at this point to really capture that into my screen recording software. So we're going to be talking about quick edit videography with the iPad. And do any of you have an iPad currently? Okay, very good. So the good news, of course, is, I mean, the iPad is expensive, but the apps are not. And so hopefully one of the concrete results of this video conference is you're going to get very energized with some of the applications that I'm going to show you and want to go out and try some of this, hopefully, in short order. I have created our link that I've put up earlier, which is just wfryer.me/iPad-video. All of the handout links that I'm using for these video conferences this week are really on the same Google site. So once you're there, you can click handouts and you should be able to link to the different ones. But that's a short address to be able to get to our link. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you a couple examples at the beginning and then talk about some of the apps that can be used to do this. There are a lot of different, what I would call quick edit video options that we have with the iPad. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'll switch over to my screen, and I'm going to go to my Safari browser, and I've gone ahead and just opened up our page. And I'm gonna open up first this link in a new tab for finger puppet videography. As we approach this topic and discuss this, we're teaching different levels, different ages of kids. Some of the examples I'm going to be sharing with you are more elementary examples. But let me assure you, just because I've been using, let's say, finger puppet videography with younger students, that by no means means that we can't be doing this with older students. And the creativity that's possible with these kind of applications and these things is pretty exciting. The first link that I put on here is a link to one just about doing actually finger puppet videos with students that we've done in the Sunday school class that I teach. And I have done video kind of the old school way with actually the camcorder that I showed you here just a minute ago, and lots of wires and equipment, literally bringing in a little suitcase of stuff to do a project, and we hook up the wires and we hook up the camera and we hook up the microphone and all this stuff. And while that's good, it takes a lot of prep at the front end, and it also takes post-production at the back end, meaning that I've got that recorded and I end up, spending at least an hour or more editing stuff together after the class. And while I know how to do that and I can do that, I don't really have a lot of time to do that as frequently as I might like to. So one of the things that happened when the iPad when the iPad 2 came out that had video, I played with iMovie and I realized, oh my goodness, this is a real game changer. And so in a 40-minute lesson, with students, my students were able to not only shoot some video, and these were actually videos where we were using finger puppets. I mean, if I'll switch back over here. This you can see we're using a table, and we've kind of got some yarn on either side to sort of show the borders of where the frame is, and the kids are shooting the video. What amazed me was in a 40-minute class period, we planned some videos, we shot them, and literally in 10 minutes after class, I had 2 fifth graders who had never used iMovie before edit together what they did and publish it to Vimeo, to the website Vimeo, which we've used as a channel, kind of like you can set up YouTube, but I kind of like Vimeo better for this kind of sharing. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is a big deal, because I didn't have to bring in all of this equipment. I didn't have to spend an hour plus after class getting things edited, and I had a link that I emailed out to parents, and it was available and viewable. So as you all are thinking more, in terms of college students and college-age students, one of the reasons why iPad videography and quick edit videography is such a big deal is that it's much more doable for anybody. And one way to look at this, and I like the way that this is phrased, it's a low bar and a high ceiling. That's what Dr. Mitch Resnick says about Scratch software, which is a programming environment. A low bar means it doesn't take a lot to get into the environment, but the ceiling is really high. There are all kinds of possibilities with what we can do. So this is a post that I wrote where I was basically kind of telling some stories about how I did this. And you can see, and we'll see this on the iPad here in a little bit, there are different different publication options that you have when you create your movie on the iPad. And so that is going to be what I'm going to start with as far as the example today. Is we're gonna look at iMovie, and we're going to bring in some video and show you kind of how that editing process works. The next example that I want to mention before we kind of get into some tools is called The Hobbit in 5 Minutes. And my daughter, oops, shoot, I guess that's going to open in YouTube. My daughter, who is in 6th grade, was supposed to watch, or not watch, she was supposed to read the entire...
The Hobbit is the story of Bilbo Baggins.
Turn this down. She was supposed to read the book The Hobbit this past summer. There were 5 different books that were on her reading list. It came to a week before school was starting. We started August 1st in Oklahoma City. She hadn't read this book. I really did want her to read this book. It wasn't that I was telling her not to. But what we ended up deciding to do is, why don't we write a script and with her older brother who's in 8th grade who's read it, let's do this whole book in 5 minutes, and let's create a video that will basically include all the main characters, the major events that happened. Let's put all of those things together and see if we can create a movie. And so this particular video involved writing scripts. It involved obviously identifying what were the key scenes, who were the key characters. We used Legos. My 8th grade son is really into Lego minifigures, so he made a character for each of the main characters that we were using, I think except the dragon and the eagle, and we had to use some other animals for that, different scenes that we pulled in. And this was the 4th version of this that we ended up recording. So we used a teleprompter app that I'll show you that's free because we had a script that we wrote. There were words that we ended up writing, and we did a little bit of drawing in the background for screens. But this was fun, it was creative, and it definitely involved a lot of higher order thinking in terms of what we had to do in order to create this. So this project, The Hobbit in 5 Minutes, I think is an example of how we can ask students to create in a creative way summaries of different things and represent things in other ways, not necessarily just with a PowerPoint or something that we're going to turn in like a 5-paragraph essay, but there's other ways we can do it too. The other thing that I want to point out, and I'll see if I can actually plug my audio in. I apologize for the feedback there. And I'll see if I can plug this in so that you can hear this. A couple years ago, I was visiting with a friend about video projects, talking about how much learning happens when students do a video project that's not necessarily reflected in the final video. There's a lot of other stuff that's gone on and that they've learned. And we were talking about DVDs and the director's cut. And have any of you have a favorite DVD you've seen that you've watched, like extended features or the director's commentary or something like that? I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so that's an example of a DVD where, you know, New Line has published all this additional information. I think maybe the Harry Potter movies have come out with these extra extended ones, you know, where J.K. Rowling is talking with Daniel Radcliffe, and they're given all this backstory. So we talked about this, and we ended up saying, well, why don't we do that with students? Why don't we have our students make an audio recording of themselves watching their video and then talking through what they would do different, what they learned, what they messed up, you know, doing that kind of actor's commentary. So I'm not going to play this whole thing, but I'll just play a little bit of it. And we'll see if this is going to play here in the window or if it's going to go, yeah.
This is the actor's commentary of The Hobbit in 5 minutes. These are the actors that were in the show. I'm Sarah.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Wes. So what was going on here? How did we get all these characters?
Well, they all came from a mismatch of my Lego collection, and I made probably most of the scenes.
Okay, so I'm not going to subject you to the whole thing, but I'm going to throw this out as an idea for you, because when students create a media project, there are no firm rules, but in general, I think it's a good idea to limit the time that you're going to give students that you want them to make a product. And a lot of times, especially if we're going to be sharing it, it's nice for it not to be an hour long, for it's not even to be 30 minutes long. You know, let's let this thing be succinct, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, you know, something that's going to be short. It's actually very challenging to take complex ideas and represent them in a shortened form. We've got to summarize, we've got to evaluate, we have to decide what's important and what we're going to put in. It's also extremely beneficial to ask students to teach content. And, you know, we know this as teachers, that in order to teach something, we have to master it and know it at a higher level than if we were simply, you know, sitting in the chair of the student, watching and participating as a student rather than being at the front of the class. So part of my encouragement thinking about these different videography examples is, how can you get your students to teach parts of your curriculum? It's not because you're lazy or I'm lazy, but it's because we want our students to be engaged at a higher level, and we want to challenge them to actually demonstrate mastery of concepts and skills. And if students can teach it effectively with media, there's a good chance, number one, it's going to stick with them, and number two, we might be getting a higher level of insight into what they do understand or they don't understand because they are representing it with media. So that idea of an actor's commentary video is just something else to think about as something that you could have students do really with almost any kind of media product. And the last session that we did, and I'll be emailing Nick a link to the podcast if you didn't get a chance to attend, it was about no-edit video or audio podcasting. You can even have students do that with audio. You know, they could do a reflection. But it's kind of neat, since we already have a literacy with DVDs now of the director's commentary, or, you know, the costume, I don't know what, director of costumes, or whatever the different titles are. You know, students may have seen those kind of things, and they can do that for their media projects too. Another example that I want to show you here is this link to iPhone videography from Glacier National Park. I didn't put a link here on this page currently, but I had a chance at the beginning of November to be in New York City. Never been there before. Went out to the Statue of Liberty, rode out to the island. And for the first time ever, I saw a guy with an iPad, holding his iPad at the side of the boat, you know, right next to the water, shooting video of the Statue of Liberty. You know, don't drop that camera, you know, that, you know, $500, $800 iPad. This link is to a set of different videos that I took this past summer when I was at Glacier National Park. And there's really not any way I would have probably had time to do the editing and do all the tweaking in order to get these shared online. These were actually shot on the iPhone. This was going on a road called Going to the Sun Road. I want to say it took $15 million and 3 years for them to build this road across Glacier Park. It goes over the pass, over the Continental Divide, and we were actually holding the phone out the sunroof of our rental car to take this. You know, if I was using a traditional camera and just, you know, regular camcorder, I don't think I would have shot this video, and I definitely wouldn't have put it online and have shared it. I mean, there's just too many clicks that would be required to do that. So having access to an iPad or a smartphone that has video capability can really open up some different possibilities for us being able to shoot video and share it and do things that, you know, we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Last example that I'm going to show is an example of puppet videography. So one of the applications that I'm going to talk about today is called Puppet Pals. And this is a short video that my 8-year-old made on Sunday. And I'm going to show you this app and teach you how to use this. Now again, because I'm sharing this, and this is an 8-year-old, a second grader, please don't be turned off and think, I didn't think, you know, we're in college. We're not teaching second grade. I guarantee you that college students can be highly engaged when they're challenged with a creative task to be able to explain something. And it is amazing how an app like Puppet Pals, because it has all these characters and these backgrounds, plus you can put your own in, is really an exciting sandbox for students to, you know, communicate something in a creative way and to create something pretty quickly that they can share. So I'm going to go ahead and play this just on this webpage. This is from Vimeo.
I will try and make... Oh, Santa Claus, I've always wanted to go to Washington, D.C. and see the president. Besides, we need to ask him if we can go to all the houses in the United States again this year. Besides, he's really nice to go to see. How about you? Do you want to go see him? Oh, sure, my good wife. We will go see the president. We are good pals. Almost like brothers. We are famous. All right, here we are. Are you ready to go see the president? He sure would like seeing me again. Yes, I do believe so. He will love you. Oh, Santa Claus, I love you too.
Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, I will let you go to all the houses in the United States once again this year. You two are the sweetest little plump couple I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. Would you like some of my cookies?
Sure, I'll have some.
Thank you. They're very yummy. Oh, thanks. I made them myself.
Yes, of course you did, honey. Mwah. Okay, time for you guys to leave. I have lots of paperwork to do. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I thought it was sort of interesting who she chose to be the president today. The fact that that was created in about 30 minutes and it was shared online, it's remarkable. And it's also pretty exciting to see just the dynamics that happen. Like in the classroom, when I get finger puppets out, the kids get very excited. They know they're going to make something, they're going to create something. They're going to be thinking outside the box. They're not just going to sit back and hear, you know, Mr. Fryer, you know, teaching a lesson. They're going to be involved and they're going to participate. And so I want to go ahead and show you some of these apps, explain how you can use these, and hopefully get you excited about how you can either put these in the hands of your students or give students this kind of an option for one of their assignments to be able to create something like this. But before we do that, let me give you an opportunity to talk with each other and respond to that. I just showed you a bunch of things, so I'm going to go ahead and, well, and I don't have, I guess I do. Here's the thing. I don't have my laptop that I'm normally teaching from, but I do have a timer on the iPad. So, and if we're going to use the iPad, this is the, and I don't have this one linked yet, but this is a little app I've found called Free Clock, and so it has a timer on here. So we're going to go ahead and give you 60 seconds to go ahead and talk and just respond to some of those things that I just showed you. Go. Talk with your neighbor. That's a much more impressive sound than my normal bell that goes off. So, so some of the things that you mentioned, I mean, privacy and confidentiality, those are issues. We have a lot of fear surrounding them. And while some of that fear is overblown, I've found it to be quite helpful to just circumvent those concerns by saying, hey, we're not videoing kids. We are doing puppets. You know, we're having student voices, but we're using finger puppets. And we've done that with actual finger puppets. And we've also done that with, you know, apps. Well, just basically last Sunday is the first time we've ever done, you know, one of these videos with the app. So let me go ahead and jump in and start showing you some of these apps. I have linked on our page, if you go to the web page that I've created, our apps in a couple different categories. And the first one I'm going to go into are the video editing apps, primarily to talk about iMovie, but I'll mention Reel Director as well. Then I'll talk about the teleprompter app, we'll talk about Puppet Pals, and then a little bit about screencasting. We'll see what else we have time for. But the main app that I have found to be the best for videography is definitely iMovie. And the iMovie app is set up to be a quick edit environment. So once I start a new project, I can see all the videos that I have shot and taken on this device. And what I might do is I'll go ahead, I don't know if this one's still on there or not. I guess it is. I'm going to bring in a 5-minute interview that I did back in September when I was in Maine, and I interviewed Kern Kelly. And so this is the raw video from the interview. And if I just go ahead and play this up here, well, you can't see my finger, but in the upper right corner, this is the play area. And I'll go ahead and just play this sort of as it is raw. At a bare minimum, what we're probably going to want to do with any video we shoot with the iPad like this that's an interview is we're going to trim it. We're going to have stuff at the beginning we're going to trim off, and stuff at the end we're going to trim off. And we probably are going to put a little title on it, and that might be good. Do we have to do those edits? No. But in general, you want to press the record button early, because if you miss somebody giving their introduction, their name, you know, it's a little awkward. You have to ask them to repeat it or whatever. So you want to start recording early, because it's very easy to make trims and to do those kinds of edits. So I'm just going to go ahead and push the play button here. All right, so we're good. Okay. Hi, this is Wesley Fryer in Lewiston, Maine, with the amazing Kern Kelly. Okay, so this is our project. Let me note that, and you might be able to see this at the bottom. I've got a button here right sort of in the bottom left corner of my preview window that looks like a waveform. It looks like a squiggly line, I guess, that's making audio. And as I push that, it toggles on and off the waveforms below. I like to have that on. And you can see that the waveform is larger here right at the beginning of the interview. I'm going to hit the play button. Hi, this is Wesley Fryer. And so that's really the spot where I want to probably start this video. I don't really need the beginning part. So what I'm going to do in order to trim this is I'm going to go ahead and click once on the clip. So now that it's selected and it has yellow on the top and the bottom, and this is a little, you're not seeing this camera. I haven't figured out how to do it, and it might almost be better to do that than seeing direct. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swipe down. So I've clicked on the clip, and now I'm going to swipe down with my finger, and what that should do is it should make a cut, just like a knife, to split the clip there. So on a basic level, what we're going to do to edit is we're going to, like we're using a knife, we're going to split or cut our video into pieces. We're going to delete those pieces that we don't want, and then when we have the video left that we want to keep, we'll put a title around that. That's going to be the basic edit that we're going to do to this piece. So this beginning piece that's over here on the left is basically junk. I don't want this anymore. This is the beginning part when we started to record, and I don't want it. So what I'm going to do is double tap on that clip, and it gives me the option here to delete the clip. That's the red button that's there at the bottom. So I go ahead and delete that clip. Now, if I go move my clip to the beginning and I start to play it. Hi, this is Wesley Fryer in Lewiston, Maine with the there's not any, any extra stuff at the beginning. The video just starts. So the next thing that I'm going to do, and this is, again, something that you can do as a quick edit, is I can apply what's called a theme to my movie, and I could put some information in, like who is this interview with and where is it located. You don't have to do that, but just like we watch CNN or Fox News and they've got the little, bar below the person saying it's, Peter Jackson in Wellington, New Zealand or whatever. You can do that same kind of thing with your movie, and it makes it look professional. It also provides more information for your audience who's watching, to tell them who they're talking to. So before I do this, I'm going to go ahead and scroll and sort of, I would say scroll. I'm just with my finger. I am moving the clip itself by pushing it. And I'm going to decide when do I want that to end, because I'm going to put a title on this clip and I don't want it to be going for the entire thing. So my process here is the same. I am going to select my clip, then I'm going to swipe down to make a cut like that. And now my clip basically is in two pieces. I have a short piece that's here at the beginning, and that's the part that I'm going to put my title on. So I used to joke with people teaching every kind of introduction to Windows, Microsoft Office, Word, Excel. When in doubt, blank. And what's the answer for that? When you're working in a Windows environment and you want to know how to do something, when in doubt, what's a good idea with your mouse? Okay, double click. Or what's another kind of click we can do? A right click. Yeah, there you go. Right click. When in doubt, right click. In fact, I don't think I had that written down at some point on the wall. When in doubt, right click. And on an iPad, when in doubt, double tap. I mean, that's kind of what gives you more choices in a lot of cases. So that's what we're going to do in this case. We are going to double tap on our clip, and it brings up these choices. And I think these are a little probably hard for you to see. But this top one says title style, and by default, that's set to none. Well, I'm going to go ahead and change that to opening. And there are really just three choices, well, four if you count none: opening, middle, or ending. So I'm going to choose opening, and then I'm going to use my breadcrumb link here at the top to go back to the clip settings. So now I've chosen an opening style, and I can put in a title by clicking up here, and I can type interview with Kern Kelly. Kern is a tech director in Lewiston, which is a little bit north. I think it's Lewiston. He's in a school district that's a little north of where we were here. So when I clicked there in that box, my keyboard popped up. In the bottom right corner of my virtual keyboard, I have a button that will hide it. I am not super excited about that theme. There are some other themes that I like better. And so what I'm going to do to bring up those themes is in the upper right corner, there is a button that is the settings button for this movie. And I'm going to click on that to be able to pick the theme that I want. Now, I'm kind of going through a lot of steps pretty quickly here. I have, and I will go ahead and put this link on here too. When I wrote my ebook, I actually did it as an appendix. I've got screenshots showing how to do this in 17 steps, but here are all the steps, step by step. And I am 95% sure I've got a blog post that has that. But I will either put the link on here, or I will go ahead and email that to Nick so that you all can have a copy of that. I probably ought to just have that as a post, because it just takes you through these different steps. So we've trimmed off the part that we don't want. We've made the first clip that we want our title to be on. And now we're going to choose a different theme. And how do your students respond to all the PowerPoint theme options? Like how many options, what version of PowerPoint are you all using now? Do anybody know? Are you guys up to, what is the latest? Is it 14? Okay. And how many theme options are there in PowerPoint for PowerPoint 2010? Yes, that's right. There's a ton. And so is that good or bad? The iPad, in terms of editing and things like that, this is quick editing. This isn't, I get 100 choices. I get a few choices. They're good choices, but it's not like I've got 100 different ones. So here underneath project settings, I can flip through. There was modern, bright, playful. It's going to show me a preview as it changes these. Neon, travel, simple. And the one that I'm going to probably pick here is the last one. I like this one for interviews. It's called the CNN iReport. So it makes it kind of look like, we're working for a news agency. I'm going to leave the theme music off. If you want to, that can come in. And that works a little bit better when you are, let's say, having an opening shot that is not the interview. And this is something that you can do or think about having your students do. There are two basic kinds of shots that you have in a video, and especially like in a documentary. You have what's called an A-roll shot and a B-roll shot. The A-roll is your talking head. That's the person you're interviewing and you're talking to. The B-roll is interesting in things that relate to what you're talking about. So a lot of times in a documentary or a newscast, you'll start out with the A-roll. Hi, this is Wes Fryer, and I'm in Oklahoma City reporting about the parade that we're going to have, celebrating Christmas. Then it will cut away, to show some B-roll, which is going to be the parade going by or the floats or whatever like that. You can get fancier and do that kind of thing and have multiple clips. In this case, I don't use the theme music because I'm just pretty much going right to the interview. And that's probably the easiest way to start with. But, there are some other choices here like theme music and background music and whether you want it to fade in or fade out. I'm going to go ahead and choose to let it fade in. And up there on the top, it says Augusta. Can anybody there tell me how does it know I was near Augusta, Maine when I did this? How is the iPad, they say, is magical, but how is that happening?
Because your location was turned on.
Yes, location services. And the iPad, like a smartphone, is, GPS location aware. And in that actual video, it has put some extra information, some meta information that says this was, in this location in Maine. Now, sometimes that's not going to be exactly accurate. In fact, I don't think we were in Augusta when we did this. I think we were, where were we? We were in Lewiston or something. I can go ahead and change it. So I can put other, and I think I'm just going to put Maine. I'm not going to define where in Maine, but that's what I'm going to put. So what it does is it automatically changes that in the map over here. So let me go ahead and play the beginning of this clip, and you can take a look at how this is looking now.
Hi, this is Wes Fryer.
Oops, sorry. Let me switch to my video, and let's try that again.
Hi, this is Wes Fryer in Lewiston, Maine with the amazing Kern Kelly. I could ask Kern questions all night long, but I'm not going to. You were telling me a little bit about how your students are using iPod Touches to do their digital portfolio documentation. How's that working?
It's working well. One of the things that we really have this.
Okay, so that is just a little introductory, beginning theme that's going to be there on the video. And one other thing that I will sometimes do from time to time is put some other links and some other information up that relate to what we're talking about inside the video. So as an example, I'm going to go ahead and go to the internet, and I'm going to search for Kern Kelly. So I'm going to open up a new window here, and I'm going to type, or a new tab, I guess. I'm going to type Kern Kelly, and I'm going to put his link to his blog. So his blog is called The Tech Curve, and I'll just go ahead and put a link to that inside my video. So I've clicked up at the top. I'm going to choose to select, I chose the wrong thing. Let me try that again. What I want to do is copy that address at the top. So I'm clicking up here at the top. I'm holding down my mouse and choosing select all, and now I get a prompt to copy it. So I've just copied that link onto my iPad's clipboard, and now I'm going to switch back into iMovie. Whenever you double click the home button on an iPad, it shows you all the applications that you have running currently in memory. So you can see there at the bottom, the first one is iMovie, the next one's that free clock app. We had YouTube running earlier, the Photos app, the settings. Those are the things that are running. But that is the quickest way I've found to switch back and forth. And the analog on your Windows PC is just going down to the taskbar and clicking on a different icon that's there open at the same time. When your Internet Explorer is open and you've got Word or you've got Movie Maker or whatever. So that's, again, just a double click of the Home button, which is the only button you've got really on the front of the iPad. So I'm going back now into iMovie, and what I would like to do is when Kern starts to talk here, I'm going to put his link in. So I can visually see when the microphone is moving over to be in front of him. And so I'm going to make a split in my video right there. The playhead is that red line that's going across the video. So I'm going to swipe down and make that cut across. And now I've got to decide how long I want that link to be up there. Right now, this version of iMovie doesn't show me a timing like that. I'm at the 2-minute, 3-second mark. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate it. One thing that I can do is I can take my fingers and pinch them together and make this entire video. I can basically zoom out. The way that I did that was, and I'll show this, was with a pinch. So by pinching my fingers together, I'm like squeezing the entire timeline together, and I can do the opposite as well, where I can pinch out. So this is a two finger movement or swipe, I guess, and that that can help me a little bit as far as not having to scroll through so much. So let's put it up for this amount. I'm going to swipe down again. And I had to do that a couple times. I'm not sure exactly why, but I swiped down, and now I've divided this piece into its own segment. So if I make this smaller, you can see that my movie is now in 4 different pieces. I have that beginning part that has my opening title transition. I have a second part where I'm just kind of talking, and then this section where Kern starts to talk is where I decided I want to put my link that goes to his website. So for a gold star, who can remind us how do we bring up that menu that lets us choose a title transition on iMovie? What are we going to do? Remember, there's a gold star on the line. That's right. You're going to double tap. And this is a little hard as I show this over the video conference because you can't see my finger, actually clicking on here. But that's what I'm doing. I'm double tapping, and that brings up the menu just like a right click would on a Windows PC. But this time for the title, I'm not going to choose opening. I'm going to choose middle because I don't really need all that information of showing the map and all that stuff. And so now I'm going to click inside the title. I could type the address, but since I have copied it, I can push and hold my finger down, and when I let go, it gives me the option to paste. So, oops, and I didn't click on it right. So now it has pasted in Kern's web address, and a lot of times with a web address, I will go ahead and take out the HTTP. Now, in order to do this, I am clicking with my finger and holding my finger down, and I get this magnifying glass that lets me go to just the part of the text that I want, and now I can hit backspace and delete. So now I've got Kern's blog address there at the top, and let's go ahead and take a look at this video from here, or what it's looking like now.
Wes Fryer in Lewiston, Maine, with the amazing Kern Kelly. I could ask Kern questions all night long, but I'm not going to. You were telling me a little bit about how your students are using iPod Touches to do their digital portfolio documentation. How's that working?
It's working well. One of the things that we really emphasize in our district is having students be in charge of digitizing their own work, taking ownership of it. One thing that typically happens is teachers do a lot of the work, especially when it comes to digital stuff. They're trying to collect it, and they're running around kind of...
Okay, so that's kind of how that works. The only other thing that I'll probably do to this video before I'm done with it is make sure at the end we've got it ending in the right spot, that we've got it trimmed. So that process is going to look the same as it did at the beginning. I'm going to scroll all the way here to the end of my movie. I'll go ahead and play this and see where I need to end it.
Curve.com. That's it. So lots of gurus here in Maine and lots of good learning. So thanks a lot.
Okay, it's not that bad, but I don't really need the camera. When the camera pans down here, I don't really need that in there. So I'm just going to select it here. I'm going to swipe down, and now I can double click this last piece and click delete clip, and it's going to be gone. All right? So this is now how my clip's going to end.
That's it. So lots of gurus here in Maine and lots of good learning. So thanks a lot.
Again, it is fading out to black because I chose that up on my theme. When I picked the CNN iReporter theme, I said fade to black, and that I wanted it to fade in from black and fade out as well. The last thing I'll mention on this little clip view here at the bottom, in this case, Kern had good volume. We could hear him pretty well. We don't really need to adjust much. But when you double click a clip, one of the things it lets you do, as far as in addition to title, style, and location, is you can adjust the volume. You can also mute a clip. So if you do not want to have any of the audio, you could just turn the audio off for the whole clip, and it would mute it. But this is probably set to about 80% volume. And if I needed to boost this up, I could go ahead and drag that up, and that would boost my volume levels. You'll be able to see down here that those volumes levels have been boosted. And sometimes you're gonna want to do that, and sometimes you won't. The microphone that I used is definitely one of the peripherals I'm most excited about for any kind of extra thing that you can buy for an iPad or for other computers. I will say, as far as full disclosure, this company, IK Multimedia, did donate this iRig for me to give away this month. I'm doing drawings every month for teachers who are sharing examples of student work. This is a $60 microphone at the Apple Store. Until about a month ago, this was the only external microphone that you could get for an iPad or an iPhone. It has a plug that is special, that plugs right into the headphone jack of the iPad, and you can monitor the audio if you want to by plugging in a headphone. But if I can show this with a video, your cable length is 4 times this. That I don't know if it actually says on the specifications how long it is, but it's definitely comfortable as far as doing an interview, having somebody hold the iPad and then somebody else, like I was showing there, doing the interview. You don't have to use a microphone like this. The iPad does pick up audio pretty well, but the benefit of having a microphone like that is it does a great job canceling out and eliminating external audio that is in the area. So it's basically dampening that, there's a technical term for that, but it's filtering it out so that you're not hearing it. So let me give you a little reflection time. I'm going to go back to my little clock here. Well, let me finish up with iMovie, and then I'll give you some reflection time, and we'll go to the next thing. I'm almost done, okay, with iMovie. I've got my video basically like I want it. So now what I'm ready to do is export my video. And the way that I do that is I will click up here at the top, above my head in the preview window, there's a button here that says My Projects. And when I click on that, it's going to take me back to the opening menu that I had for iMovie that shows me all the projects that are available on my device. And this one doesn't have a topic. So I can click on it here, click the X, and I could name it Kern Kelly, or whatever it is that I'd like to call this particular project. At the very bottom of this project, and here are the different projects that we have that are loaded in here. In fact, there's The Hobbit in 5 minutes. We've still got that one on this iPad. Below this project preview window, there are buttons. There's a plus, there's a play button, and there's one that looks like a box with an arrow going out. If I click on that one, it gives me options of where I would like to share my video. And generally, I will always just share it to the camera roll and then it's going to appear just like a picture that I took or a video that I took on my camera roll. You can directly publish this to YouTube, Facebook, and Vimeo. As I mentioned last spring when I did the first project with my 5th graders doing finger puppet video, I had them immediately published to Vimeo. I had set up a free account and we put in the username and the password, and 10 minutes after class, that video was not only edited, it was online, and that was the way we were able to do it. So it just depends on, where you want to put it and what you want to do. It's almost always a good idea to export it to the camera roll, and then it is going to appear, if I go ahead and exit iMovie, and I go here to Photos, it's going to appear here in my camera roll, just like all these other videos appear. So, these were, I think, false starts for The Hobbit in 5 minutes.
The Hobbit is the story of Bilbo.
We won't play that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go to my clock. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I want you to turn to your neighbor and talk a little bit about what we've discussed with iMovie and what possibilities you see for using that, personally or with your students. Great question got asked there during that time. Did you ask permission? Right? And we need to talk to our students about this. Just because we can take a picture, just because we can take a video, number one, doesn't mean we should. And number two, it doesn't mean that we can or should share that online. And it's very, very important that we get permission. When I'm working with pre-service teachers and students, it's the student gives permission and the parent in that kind of situation. Ask people, is it okay if I share this on YouTube? That may get people's eyes really big, but sharing it online anywhere is just about equivalent. YouTube has more eyeballs and there's more people commenting and things like that. Some people are going to be comfortable with that. Some people aren't. Some people are going to check what they say and say something different if they realize that it's going to be shared. We've got class projects. We may or may not be, publishing all of those openly. It is an unbelievable day today that websites like YouTube and Vimeo basically give us an unlimited amount of hosting that we can share. It used to be really hard to take video from a computer and get it online where other people could see it. Today, just like we saw in that iMovie app, it is just another click at the end. And when you have your username and password, off it goes. It's up and published. So, before I talk about a few other things, anybody want to ask a question or add another comment that's sort of iMovie specific? Ooh.
Not really a question, but it takes less than 10 minutes to learn the whole software.
Right.
That's pretty rare for a movie editing or a video editing software.
And this is the game changer that I hope to communicate with you, and I hope you'll share with other people too. Because people have tended to look at smartphones and even tablets as like, well, yeah, that's just a phone. I had a tech director on the phone 2 weeks ago tell me, but it's really just a calculator. It's really just, seeing it as this very weak device. Well, we just did it on the iPad. I can do on my iPhone, and I've done before. And I don't see that as a replacement for my laptop. I still need a keyboard when I'm doing a lot of typing and a lot of writing, but especially when I'm making media, I am much more powerful and capable as a media creator using a mobile device today than I am using, my camera here that's beside me that has tape and, requires so much more time and so many more clicks. So absolutely. That's why seeing these 5th graders take the iPad and not only shoot video, but edit it and publish it. And it was done in such a short amount of time. That, to me, that was an aha moment where I realized this is a big deal. This isn't just a single step forward in the progression of video. This is actually, sorry, I didn't mute my phone before our video conference. This is a giant leap forward. This is a quantum leap forward because the time required and the clicks required is so different. Any other comments or questions? No. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, we started just a little bit late, so I think we'll probably go till about 5 or 10 after. what I've shown you so far is the main focus of what I planned. I really wanted to show iMovie and how we can do that. But on our website, I have put some links to some other examples and some other tools. And so I'll mention a couple of these, and then I'm going to actually show you Puppet Pals, and then we'll be done. Reel Director is another app that you can get for iPhone, and I've used it on the iPad also. And I have found it to be a little more forgiving for importing video footage, that is not shot on the iPhone or on the iPad. My iPhone is the one and only high-definition video camcorder I own. Never had a high-def camcorder before. This shoots in 720p, which is high definition. The iPad does not have quite as good a camera, but it still shoots in high definition. And incidentally, that's something that I didn't show on the export for iMovie. You've got to decide what size you're going to export. It doesn't give you numbers. It's basically small, medium, or large. I've usually gone with medium because it will export faster when it renders, and when you upload, it uploads faster as well. But anyway, Reel Director is another app that I've used that has been, it's imported video that I've actually taken other places when I was trying to kind of mash some things together, make a video with use video that wasn't all taken on the iPhone. I want to show you the iPrompt Pro app, and don't let the Pro name deceive you. This is a free app, and it is a free video prompter. And so you can go into, I guess we used the other one. You can copy and paste your text in, it's not actually showing the scrolling text up there on the screen. It is scrolling, it is a teleprompter, so all the text that's been typed, it scrolls through, and you can control how fast or how slow that happens. So back in July, when my kids were making that Hobbit in 5 minutes video, we used that on an iPad as a teleprompter, and that's how Sarah was reading the script. It was scrolling just like you would, in a newscast or something like that, where they're watching the teleprompter. We were using it in that way. So be aware that free teleprompter apps are available. If your students are going to be writing scripts and doing a video, that might be something that they would like to do. I'm not going to have time to address the screencasting apps, but I want to bring those to your attention. There's two that I have linked there. One is called the Show Me Interactive Whiteboard, and the other one is called Explain Everything. Show Me is actually free. I think screencasting is a skill every single teacher and every single student ought to have. Why? Because you can, succinctly explain a whole lot of different things, showing people on the screen what you're doing. And whether you're showing them pictures and you're narrating, a slideshow, or whether you're drawing and doing sort of a John Madden, pen sort of thing where you're highlighting and circling things. Think about math. Think about showing how you do problems. Khan Academy is famous now. It's Bill Gates', I think, favorite example of a technology use example. And it's great that Sal Khan has put thousands of videos online, but ultimately it's about our students understanding content. And so if your students will create the screencast about finding the least common multiple or factoring 635, and they show how to do that, the level of learning is going to be at a higher level than if they were simply watching Sal Khan or you or somebody else do that activity. So the last thing I'm going to show you real fast is Puppet Pals. Puppet Pals, and I've got, I think, Sock Puppets also linked there, is a app. I don't know where I put this. I don't have this in my story chasing. Oh, there it is. I've just got it out on my desktop. It's an example of a virtual puppet program. And it has a free version, or you can pay $3 and get all the characters. So I went ahead and paid $3, and you've got all these different characters. You've got talk show hosts, there's politicians, farm animals, fairy tale, entertainers. There's all kinds of different characters that you can download and install. And if you don't get the $3 version, you can still buy them within the app. But I just thought it was easier to get them all. So that's why I got the $3 version. So you click to start, and now you choose your actors. So you have all these different actors. Let's say we want Santa to be in this one. And then we're going to put this Bumblebee in. And then we're going to do this Black Raven, okay? You can do up to 8 characters. You click Next, and now we're choosing background. So where is Santa going to be talking to these characters? Well, it would probably make sense to do some kind of a winter scene. We've got Wild West. Yeah, that's true. That's, all right, fine. That's a good idea. Let's put him on the moon, and then we'll put him closer to Earth. All right, so I go ahead and click Next. So now our characters are here, and we can move them around. These little ropes, or I guess these are supposed to look like, I don't know what the term for that is, stage, curtain. Maybe they're curtain. What's the word? Curtain ropes. Yeah, I don't know. That changes your scene. So you drag your characters out here. You can make these guys get big or small. If I double click, they're going to turn from left to right. So if I want Santa over here and he's going to talk to this, crow, we can move him over here. Let's, and I'm going to click record to start. Actually, I'm going to start over. Hello, this is Santa Claus, and I am here today investigating how I can travel all the way to the Earth. Santa, if you're going to the Earth, you're going to need a spaceship. You're going to need somebody to take you there. Do you know somebody who can take me there? Indeed I do. Let me go find him. Hi, Santa. I can take you to the Earth. Would you like a trip? Yes, I'd love a trip. How can I go there? Well, first, I'll have to get very, very big. And you can ride on my back. All right, so that's 41 seconds worth. We're gonna go with that. Yay! I'm gonna give it a name and say save it, and now it is saved in my project. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. And we'll quickly take a look at this. Let me turn my volume up.
Investigating how I can travel all the way to the Earth. Santa, if you're going to the Earth, you're going to need a spaceship. You're going to need somebody to take you there. Do you know somebody who can take me there? Indeed I do. Let me go find him. Hi, Santa. I can take you to the Earth. Would you like a trip? Yes, I'd love a trip. How can I go there? Well, first, I'll have to get very, very big. And you can ride on my back.
Okay, so the point is, this is so fast and so easy, and this opens such great doors to creativity. You need to play with this tool. So that app, Puppet Pals, is free. You don't have to pay for it, but you don't have all the characters. So go ahead and download the free version and play with it. And if it's something you think you're going to want, consider doing the $3 version. It's called the Director's Pass version. And then you have all of the characters and all of the scenes. You can import your own. So you can take a picture of yourself, or a student can take a picture of themselves, and then you use your finger to trace around the edge, and then that is a new puppet that's there inside and can be brought in. And you can, again, have up to 8 of those around. There are so many exciting creative possibilities of what we can do with that. And I think the challenge, more than the technology here, is coming up with good prompts for students, right? Good creative prompts for what they're going to do. Can you see your students having some fun with an application like that? How about us too, right? Absolutely. In fact, that might be something to think about doing at a faculty gathering. If you guys were going to do something departmentally, I mean, that particular app is so easy to work with. You could have people break off into groups of 3 or 4, and sometimes humor is a fun way to get at real issues or real challenges. And so maybe you could have people brainstorm things that they would do to improve the college, and then you're going to create short 2-minute puppet shows that are going to illustrate, that idea. That's going to bring the application and the possibilities to the attention of a lot of folks. And again, I think the challenge is, oh my gosh, suddenly it's not hard to create something like this and to share it, because I can publish that, to YouTube, to Vimeo. I could, depending on my upload, these are not high definition. I could even upload it right into Moodle if I wanted to turn it in as an assignment. So that part of it is really not the tough part. The more challenging part is, what are we going to do? What kind of an assignment am I going to give my kids? Because I know what they've got to learn. Now I've got a really neat tool in my toolkit and on our menu for what we can, how we can have students express and share what they know. It doesn't involve shooting video of their faces, of their, revealing confidentiality or that kind of thing. Their voice is going to be there, but I just love this whole idea of being able to use puppets and opening the door to creativity with students being able to create. So, last thing I'll mention, if you want to look at the bottom of our handout, I've got a link to a blog post I wrote last month called 3 External Microphones for iPad. And as I had mentioned earlier, before November, the iRig was pretty much the only show in town or game in town for having an external microphone. You don't need one. The iPad has a built-in mic, but the quality of audio you get is really great when you use an external mic. So the iRig is a $60 mic. This is a cheaper option. It's $10. This is an adapter. So if you've got a microphone that is a standard 1/8" plug, you can get that for $10 and then plug that other microphone in. And so that's kind of handy. I have not purchased that one yet. This is a Plantronics mic that's a headset, and I think it's kind of expensive. It's $70. And actually at the Apple Store last weekend, I saw the first Bluetooth lapel mic. So you can, just like you would with a headset on a smartphone, you can Bluetooth link this lapel mic that will pin to your shirt, and then it will serve as a microphone for whatever app you're using, whether it's Puppet Pals or the built-in camera or whatever. I think we're out of time. Would anybody like to ask a question? Well, I'm so excited that you all came to this session. This is the first time I've had a chance to actually teach this particular workshop, and I'll have to see. I may end up recording a separate podcast and not sharing this one out because it's, I don't know, the whole thing with the how to share the iPad and stuff like that is not perfect. But hopefully you've gotten some good ideas. There's some good apps. As I've mentioned before, please be in touch. If you create something yourself, you create something with your students, let me know. I'm very responsive on Twitter. I'm trying to get better with email. I'm one of the email challenged people in our midst. But let me know, because I want to inspire creativity and inspire you to use media in new ways with your students particularly, but just also in life. And I find life is enriched when we have chances to have fun, be creative, and share that experience with others. And we can definitely do that with these applications. All right. Have a great afternoon, and until next time, we'll talk to y'all later.